Hi guys. So today on season 2 of Fashionably Pernia, we have two women I look up to a lot, the OG editors of fashion magazines in India. We have Priya Tanna and Nonita Kalra. Priya was the launch editor of Vogue until very recently, and Nonita was with Elle and Harper's Bazaar as the editor. They have basically taught the whole industry what to do. And how to run a magazine, how to work in fashion. And most people you see in the industry and you work with have at some point worked under them, with them. So there's a lot to learn, and I'm really excited about the stories as well. Thank you so much for being here, you guys.
It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
When she was just introducing us, did you sort of feel responsible that should we be apologizing to some people for having treated them or?
I'm actually very amused when somebody calls me an OG because I feel like I should be dead. But I say more than what we taught people, I always say, and when you ask about the apology, I think it's what we didn't teach people or what we shouldn't have taught them. Because I feel my whole career has been guided by what not to do. Okay, we would do the most disastrous cover, and Mohan and I would look at it and say, glad we're fearless, never do this again. Thank God there was no social media to hate on you. We just owned it for a month and it disappeared. The day I joined, everybody had quit. I think I had 2 people in my team and I didn't even have a receptionist. It was really fun.
Wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
The wild, wild west.
Yeah,
just
but
figure
you know, if
everything
you
out.
worked in a newspaper, nothing phases you. Come
I
on,
have a
Priya.
story to beat that as well. When I got Vogue, where I landed Vogue, as they say,
How did you land Vogue?
I was really happy at my job. Prior to Vogue, I was on the launch team of a newspaper called DNA.
DNA,
I was
yeah.
the launch editor of After Us, and it was 2.5 year old, and I was quite into it, you know. And then when I got headhunted for Vogue, and 6 interviews later, got the job. I remember a very prominent Delhi designer walking up to me at a party, and I will never forget this. The party was in Delhi for Frida Pinto, who at that time had just done
Slumdog,
Slumdog,
yeah.
and you know, it was all. And he's like, you know, we have a round of bet going on how long you're going to last because you're like the fashion outsider. And you know, I didn't even feel bad. I
So
just
mean.
15 years, well done,
I
you.
don't think
And
it
you
was-
showed them. Yeah.
it wasn't
You're like
even
the
about
longest
that.
lasting editor.
But Pernia, it wasn't even about feeling bad. I was just amused as to what it is we consider the word insider and outsider, and what does that really mean? I mean, I'd been on a diet of magazines since I was probably 11, and I knew my Vogue inside out, backwards, upwards, down, and I knew my fashion, but I didn't work in a fashion magazine. And yet to have him say to me, but I have to give him credit, 4 years later, when he met me, he said, I take my words back.
Okay, at least he learned.
I mean, I will
Yeah.
tell you this about her. You can show her any image. She'll tell you who the designer is, which collection, which year. And this is something Priya doesn't tell people, but it's terrifying.
I mean, because these days, like me and everyone younger than me has no memory of anything. You know, our attention is so short.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
just the
that
curse
thing is-
of the
yeah,
generation.
yeah.
But I have to say something in, you know, since Nonita is sitting here next to me, I remember when I became the editor and we went for our first fashion week, and I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this, and everybody was like, that's Nonita, that's that. I knew who Nonita was because, of course, you knew who Nonita was, and I'd been reading her column in Indian Express, and, you know, she's quite formidable for a very tiny person. She exudes a lot of formidable energy when you see her.
100%. Yeah.
Sweet face, come
Yeah.
on, no.
Sweet face, do not be fooled. Okay? And then I was sitting right next to her at the first show I went for, and I was like, oh. And she was just amazing. She was funny. She was wicked. She was just honest, and we just got along. And I still remember us on a flight together.
Oh my
People would have
God.
thrown us off the flight.
Yeah.
We were sitting next to each other for like, I think it was a 9-hour flight.
We were heading to Rome for a press trip. We trouble the air hostesses. She has a certain secret weapon to survive airline food and any food. She carries her own Tabasco. So, you know, by the time the trip was over, these fancy editors had all taken her Tabasco. And short of putting it on dessert, that was the way we survived that trip. Because, you know, as a very famous man who I will not quote, looked at risotto and said, what is this bland khichdi? So we were like, just give us Priya's Tabasco. That's, but back in the day, and people ask us this, They're like, how can you be friends? We're like,
I was
if
going
we're
to ask
not
this.
going to be friends.
Because you were competition with each
We're
other.
not competition.
Always.
The
Never
first
a word.
No,
Guys,
the first thing I said when Vogue launched, I
Yeah.
said, thank God there's another fashion magazine
Yeah.
because we're no longer seen as a women's magazine.
Yeah.
And as the tribe grows, more
Right.
people know about fashion. You have more
Right.
foot soldiers, people who care about it. We can only get better and more
Absolutely.
brands will come in. You know, Elle
Absolutely.
walks into a market and prepares it. Vogue comes in when Louis Vuitton comes in. Bazaar comes when Hermes comes in. It's pretty much that progress of how these magazines enter. We need the brands, we need the storytellers, we need us to hold each other's hands. She's trained people for me, I've trained people for her.
But this, does not exist anymore, right?
But
I
that's
don't know, does it
unfortunate.
not?
I don't know. Magazine editors, I don't think they're like really
But
good
why?
friends with each other. I don't think people.
You tell us why.
I think it's insecurity, honestly. I think everyone has become super insecure in every industry, but let me say in fashion for sure. Like I know stylists they may not show it, but they all hate each other. Okay? They all are in competition for the same clients.
Potatoes.
Yeah, but just as magazine editors,
That's
you're
it,
in
full stop.
competition. You would be in competition for the same advertisers, So it is a competitive business. And I think there's a certain amount of insecurity right now where, this thing is not there. This friendship,
Pernia,
this thing.
But I'll tell you something. It is so critical. And it's, I feel like this entire concept of editors not being friends is something we've inherited from America. An industry grows when there are people to push it. How can you have a one-man industry? Had there been only one magazine, how would that have looked? At the end of the day, what are we competing for? We're all competing for the 7 or 8 Bollywood covers that we all put on loop.
Yeah.
She may have a great cover, I may have a great cover, she may get one exclusive, I may get exclusive. At the end of the day, this is like literally nothing. You need more people in the business to push the business. A monopoly in media is never a
But
good
a monopoly nowhere
It's a
exists
good
because
thing.
without competition, you don't get better.
And the industry
You
doesn't
need
grow.
very greedy number 2 to push you. You need a number 3 to push number 2. And just think about it, Priya. Young people can have careers being fashion stylists. And it's so wonderful that they don't have to do boring desk jobs. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's gay. He said, if you had not absorbed me in fashion, I would have been left out of life and been very lonely. You gave me a safe haven.
Nonita, I've come across a lot of people who have worked under you and who borderline almost worship you. They're like, Nonita, she was the best boss. She was this, she was that. How does that feel? I'm sure they tell you now as well.
Listen, I don't see it that way. I love them. The thing is, I chose not to have children because at some point I looked at my team, 20-year-olds, and I said, shit, I have grown-up children. I don't have time to have a baby,
Yeah.
No, I think we've worked with exceptional people. Both of us, we love them. They make us look good. How do you not support them and make them want to shine? I would always say that, the magazine is the sun and all of us are little planets revolving around it and you all have to be your own stars.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's lovely that they love me. I love them more.
I'm very emotional about a lot of people I work with, even from pop-up shop days. Everyone I've worked with, a lot of them I'm in touch with. A lot of them I place into jobs, or if I'm doing something new, I get them involved. I don't know, maybe I'm an emotional person. So even if I'm running something, I get connected to my teams and people I work with, and it's just
Listen, Priya's team is connected with her.
Priya
They've
has
come
taken
with
her
her.
Priya.
No, and she didn't take them. They came
That's what I'm
to
saying.
her.
Priya
It's
has
not
made
like
a
she was
family, and
she was
she's
not
like,
poaching.
The family moves together.
The joint family moves
But I
together.
agree
Yeah.
100% with what both of y'all are saying.
Yeah.
I am because they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make me look good. I would be nothing without my team. And I say that at any chance I get. And honestly, EQ is the new IQ.
100%. Yes.
Yes, you can come from your Ivy Leagues and you can do all of that. But short of EQ, you're not going to last in this day and age. Because honestly, I think, Nons, you can also attest to how different it is working with the younger generation today than the ones we worked with when we were entering the industry. The mindset that you need to lead them, the mindset that you need to work with them and get the best out of them requires so much EQ.
I couldn't agree with you more. I recently had partnered with somebody for some work, zero EQ.
Oh, that's so fun.
Every day I had staff and employees and
Nonita's like, you should put him in front of me.
People calling me being like, this person is really mean and this person is saying this, and I'm like always apologizing on that person's behalf until a point I realized that I can't
don't
work
wanna
with
do
this
it
person
anymore.
because it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. If you are not good to your team, or if you can't get good work out of them or create a good environment for them, it's pointless. It's not going to work. No business is going to work.
But this comes from, I don't know if you've read this book called The Anxious Generation, and that's something you guys should read. The younger generation of workforce is definitely far more anxious. And of course, we know why, and we know all the social media disruption. All hand-holding them takes a specific kind of a skill set.
100%.
The truth is, there is an incredibly talented young youth force out there, and working with them is going to need you to change. Exactly.
I love what it teaches me every day when I have to talk to young people or work with them, and I love listening to them. It's really important to listen because, come on, we learn by listening.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And our personalities are such that we never wanted to be bigger than the brand. We're not Anna Wintour. We're not a lot of the other people, right? We're Priya and Nonita want to tape the shoes and do the jhadu katka in a shoot, and we want to feed everybody.
It's also a cultural thing.
It is.
Whatever, but I really admire young people. They teach me something every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like terrified when I do a call with them because I'm like, I better not screw up. I better learn. I better,
Our mantra was burnout or fade away, and we chose burnout.
Yeah.
They're like, neither. We want the balance. I wouldn't call up somebody from my team on a weekend out of pure respect for their work-life balance. I just wouldn't. And if I did, I would be apologetic about it.
But you would be busy doing all the work at home, banging away.
That's another story altogether.
I know. It's great that we're giving
Good for them.
this legacy to the generation. If you can get better, how wonderful.
And that's the only way you stay relevant.
Yeah.
While we speak about moving with your team, you've taken a lot of them to Nod, which is a new online magazine,
It's an online digital publication.
which you started with a lot of the ex-Vogue team.
Yes.
Yeah.
With a lot of amazing people.
Amazing people who happen to be ex-Vogue and who are your family now, pretty much. What was the idea? Like, why launch?
It's a busy industry and good. I think each one has its own personality.
Right.
We're, of course, 2.5 months old, so we're coming into our own and trying to figure out who it is that we really are. We know who we want to be, and that's what
What do you want to be? What does Nod want to be?
Literally, declutter, current, crisp, clever. I feel
It is all of that, by the way.
Thank you.
When I looked at it, I said, this is the most finished product to drop.
calm. It's
no,
calmer.
when
There's
most
no-
products drop, as editors, we can see all the flaws. I looked at it and I went, I can exhale. Everything is neat. It's finished. It's perfect. And I remember saying this to everybody who called me. I didn't message you because you never reply to messages. But
Not true, not true, not true.
no, but I just went, finally someone respects that the digital universe deserves a finished publication like we would do for print.
When you don't have enough time to read all the books that you want to read, right?
Forget read, I can't even dust.
Articles. You
Oh my
pick up a
God.
New Yorker and
Yeah.
you want to read it and you're like, okay, I'll come back to this article
Unless
at the end
it's
of the
short,
day.
people don't read.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
I'm fighting for your mind space with life.
Yeah.
And that could mean anything. You may
Sleep.
want to stare at a wall, you may want to sleep, you may want to, douse picantes in the morning.
Yeah.
That's your life, and I'm
Yeah.
fighting for 15 to 20 minutes of your attention, which is a lot, mind you.
Yeah.
So how do I come up with a digital or an editorial proposition that's decluttered, yet is a reading for the contemporary Indian, an urban Indian?
With an Indian voice.
With an
It's
Indian
not
voice.
That's the most
transplanted.
important.
It's not
I don't want to be
transplanted from a
fat
Western
because you have enough of them.
Yeah.
Enough of these lovely men who go everywhere sticking cameras into your face.
Who don't go everywhere, who are called everywhere. Let's get that right.
That is a fact.
I have to give credit to my editors, Ridhima and Megha, who've just done the most fantastic job and spearhead an amazing team. Like I said, Pernia, we're taking it very slow. We're not in a hurry to reach somewhere or be someone.
You are definitely on the right path. If there's one thing you want to read, it's The Nod because it's smart.
Yeah.
The thing is storytelling for women or people in fashion had stopped being smart. It was clickbait and literally great headlines. 5 things you need to know. And it's like this person is female, this person lives, this person still lives, and this person hasn't died. And you know what? I get very resentful. I'm like, that was 5 minutes of my valuable time where I
That
could have
you just
spent
wasted,
it
yeah.
daydreaming. I
Exactly.
opt to daydream. My
Exactly.
self-care
Yeah.
is daydreaming because I need to declutter my
that.
mind.
You moved from Condé Nast, which is like an international company with an office in India, to a company like Reliance. See, you're with Tata now. Nonita's with Tata now. So what's the difference between working for like a legacy publishing company like Hearst and Condé Nast and then moving to Indian
Let her finish and I'll
massive
tell you.
companies
I'll
like
tell you the
Tata and
difference.
Reliance?
I can tell you
know.
about Reliance, and I'm sure hers won't be too different, but she can tell you about Tata's.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is how the corporates have swooped in and understood that there is no editorial advertorial, sales, marketing, everything is storytelling. Everything. Of course, they'll come to us because of the equity of who Nonita Kalra is and what she's brought to the table and me. But they come to us because we tell stories that are convincing, that are real, and stories that work. So I think for me, the delight of working with Isha and Reliance has been that I get to take all my experience and play it on the scale.
Yeah, they give you scale, right?
We've done a dinner, and that's content for me. We've hosted an event.
Everything is content.
We've done the launch of NMACC, and that was
which
content
was great,
for
by
me.
the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We did the launch of a mall. The Nod is just a part of this entire storytelling piece. So that's what I'm excited about.
But do they give you freedom? Is there more freedom with, like, say, a Reliance than a Condé Nast?
If I have to tell you how much freedom I'm given, it's not even funny. Freedom is alignment. When you're aligned with what each other wants, that's when you become free.
For me, the big change was that e-commerce finally understood that nobody wants anything unless you tell stories.
Exactly.
And I was taken aback by how much they wanted us to tell stories and how weird the stories we told were really weird.
Yeah.
We've profiled, the only one of the few female Dhrupad singers, a Bharatnatyam dancer. What is the connection? They did not sell clothes.
Right.
But the other exciting thing, which we didn't have in magazines, access to data. Yes. Anybody who comes into my app, I know how long, where they're shopping, what they browsed, what went on their wish list, what didn't. It is so enlightening to have access to all of this. We didn't have that in magazines. It was our gut instinct. So to tell stories when you know exactly what your target is and the numbers you're getting from it, that just boggles the mind. I really learned how to use data, which has been, for somebody at my stage, just very exciting. Video content, and everybody who says, oh, you need to be native to it. No, you need to be a good storyteller. Yeah. And it's been great to tell stories. Interestingly, on one of our luxury apps, people are spending 5 to 7 minutes reading.
That's shocking. I'm like shocked.
It is shocking.
To get someone to shop for 5 to 7 minutes is hard. So forget reading.
And so we keep asking them, we're like, are you sure this data is correct? So then, of course, I'm fighting with the data team that's telling me, of course, our data is correct. It's different on luxury. It's different on the other apps. But all of this information. And the last thing that we didn't have in magazines, which we have here, is we create desire and we satisfy it.
Exactly.
You're not going anywhere
You finish
else.
the loop, right?
You finish the loop.
Yeah.
And I just went, oh shit, this is a light bulb moment,
Do you get called again and again to come back to a magazine?
Oh, not at all.
Who dare?
I'm legendary difficult when it comes to standards. I'm not going to agree to a lot of things. I didn't then. I'm not doing it now. And the lines are blurred so much between advertising and magazines. There's an honest way of doing it.
Yeah.
And both Priya and I know the honest way, and we're not telling anybody.
No.
Sorry, I'm being mean. But
But I have to tell you, Pernia, that I think Pernia's pop-up set the tone for it as far as India is concerned.
Thank you.
Oh,
and I
God,
thought it was
we-
so way
yeah.
ahead of
Thank
its
you.
curve.
Thank
we still hold you up as an example of how to
guys
sell
are so
fashion.
kind.
You
Thank
guys
No,
did
we're
it right.
not.
You did it so right.
So this is what I was under the same thought process that you're in with the Nod, that I'm going to do my own thing. I'm only my own competition, because people would tell me initially, why do you take the trouble to shoot every single garment so beautifully, or just take the time to do it? It's very time consuming and expensive. And I said that because they're like, the market doesn't know better. And I'm like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Also, we launched our own digital magazine at the time.
I remember.
that.
And it was like the first fashion digital magazine in India, because I was like, you cannot hard sell luxury. I cannot be like, buy this now, 20% off. It's not like a fast fashion brand. You have to tell stories, do other things, and lure people in, let them enjoy your space, and they will end up shopping. That's the whole idea. That was the idea behind it.
And it resonated, and I think it ushered a new wave into the way people consume and shop in India. And I really think you did that.
Yeah.
But
Thank you,
Priya,
thank
it
you.
also changed the way we ran our magazines, because
It
she was
did.
competition for
It
us.
did.
We kept an eye on you.
Yeah.
It was really important for us to know that this change in storytelling is reflected in our storytelling.
You cannot pigeonhole the luxury consumer anymore as much as you'd like to.
100%.
And my favorite example is
100%.
at my last job, I had a colleague whose dream it was to buy an LV bag.
Okay.
And her salary was a regular
Right,
salaried
right.
person. And we know how media pays. But she got a friend of hers to support her. She said, I'll send you food for the next 2 months.
How sweet.
She saved up
Yeah.
and bought the bag.
Yeah.
You can be sitting in Kasoli, but you could be following I Deserve Couture because you're obsessed with couture and you
100%.
have... So much of that has changed. Your playing field has gone broader, wider, and there is no one size that fits all.
The pin codes we service for luxury will shock you.
Yeah.
I mean, people are buying in the middle of lockdown when you thought, okay, there was in a very small town a 6 lakh watch without even assisted
way.
sales. And if I tell you some of the numbers of what we've managed to sell
Wow.
in pre-loved in watches, the numbers will shock you.
I want to ask this, something fun now. One of you are going to tell me a crazy advertiser story that you had to deal with. You don't have to name the advertiser. And one of you are going to tell me a really crazy intern or like an employee story.
Intern. I take the intern.
I can also do interns. I've had some batshit interns. Okay, we'll do both. I've had an intern who rushed up to me and said, I need to leave. I have an emergency and the technician is only available in the next hour. So I went, oh my God, is it medical? I know doctors. I'll call you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Sit down, have a glass of water. I will handle this for you. And I said, what is your medical emergency? She said, my nail is broken and my technician is only available in the next hour and it'll take me 45 minutes. So I said, listen, that's really serious. You need to go, but as you leave, just remember you're never coming back again. I was so humbled and put in my place, but notice I don't grow my nails. I don't have a technician on call, so I would just, I'd have to drown myself.
I actually have 2 really strange intern stories. I had one who was a very big industrialist daughter, and no names.
You guys probably get a lot of that. Yeah.
And she's like, she called me auntie at work.
At
Oh,
work.
nice.
And she said, auntie, can I take off? I won't be here for the next 2 hours, but then I'll come back. And I'm like, where will you be going? She's saying, for my tennis class. And I was like, no, you can't.
Yeah, this is work.
This is not like tennis time.
Yeah.
I haven't played tennis in 12 years because I'm always at work.
So that was her. And then I had another one who changed a Birkin every day.
No way.
She had
Nice.
Birkins to work every single day, a new Birkin. And what the girls did is they took pictures of it at the end of her stint, had them all lined up. And it was just bizarre. It was wild.
Enviable bag closet.
I have a couple of questions. Where did she put the Birkin while she was working? What if someone just picked it up and walked out? A, and B,
Open desk, open office.
Was she a good worker at least?
See, I don't
Did she
remember
make up for
'cause
the Birkins?
I didn't deal with her, but
Acha.
I'm hoping she was.
Yeah. She
One
wants
of
to
them
come intern
told
with
me,
you.
because I told her you have to come to work at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
She said, I'm going to call my dad and he's going to call your boss and he's going to sack you. And I said, please do that because,
An intern told you that my dad's going to call your boss and he's going to sack you?
And I said, I've been at TEL 10 years and I'm unable to leave. Maybe your dad will do me a favor. So she was horrified. And I spent 13 years at TEL, so her dad didn't get me sacked. But,
oh my God.
But it was so much fun. The worst advertiser or marketing story will never be interesting because marketing flex is very dull.
For the money they're giving you, they want to suck your blood. Like literally.
But
I'm
how
like,
boring. Is that all you can do? Make it
And
interesting.
especially at Vogue, because we were 3x or 4x more expensive.
So they're like, if we're paying you, you better do this.
You better give us
this,
your sweat, blood, tears, children,
And your left
inheritance,
kidney.
kidney,
Yeah.
all kinds of
seriously.
organs. So we had a lot of them being demanding.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always pretty, but I think one of the lessons we've learned is how to manage and deal with all kinds of people.
Because people management is the main thing as an
It's
editor,
everything.
right?
I've had everything from cover girls sending me off to get safe puri without potatoes,
Sending you as the editor?
samosa without
Yes.
peas,
Guts.
go to my hotel
Also-
room and get lingerie out of my drawer. We've done
But
it all.
also leaving in the middle of a shoot because you got news that your boyfriend was sleeping with another person.
Love it.
This is like the actors like shooting with you.
And they have left and you're like, but I don't have a cover for the next month, which is in 10 days.
No respect for the job. Like you're here to do a job.
You know
finish it.
what? The stars were learning that magazines mattered to them. They were learning what it meant to be clothes horses. Everybody was learning. It was a time of great churn. And I wouldn't change it for anything because it was a time of so much learning.
Yeah.
When things are calm, I want to leave. It bores me.
We all learned on the go and we reacted
Yeah.
to things that were happening to us. We all reacted very organically.
Yeah.
So much is measured today.
Everything is super
Yeah.
measured. From a celebrity has to be measured.
Yeah.
to editor, to everyone, because in 3 seconds you'll be cancelled. They'll be like, how can she or say this or do this? And
Because you
whatever.
also choose to play out your entire life at a much broader scale. Right?
Yeah,
What social
yeah.
media has done is it's just amplified everything about your life to another level, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's not always going to be kind,
No, mostly it's not.
right?
What are your favorite covers that you guys have done? You at Elle or Bazaar, you at Vogue.
Against everyone's wishes, I managed to get 3 South Asian writers on the cover.
Oh, wow.
It was Fatima Bhutto, Tamima Anam, and Tishani Doshi. I don't know how we got that cover together,
This was
but
for
I
Elle?
do for Harper's
Harper's
Bazaar.
Bazaar, yeah.
Fatima had some clothes delivered to my house, which reached some other house. So we rang every doorbell up and down my street in London till somebody called the police and said, these 2 Indians are harassing people. We had no budgets because, it was not a popular cover. My husband, who is a banker, was booking Ubers and sending everyone back and forth. The team stayed in my house. For me, sort of fashion and sort of writing, they're the same thing. I want to sit in your heart and I want to engage with your mind. So to get these fabulous women who
together.
are so staggeringly beautiful,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And their view of fashion was amazing. So to get this cover, I went, I can retire now because I wanted to do this my whole life. So that would stand out. But I think Priya will tell you, all your covers are like your babies. You love them equally. Even
the
when you
bad
screw
ones,
up. In fact, you love them a little more because they're the really,
They're the special children.
they're the special children who really no one else is going to love, but they're like E.T. You're a mother. You're going to love them very much.
I think for a magazine that covered everybody from Salma Hayek, we got a Salma Hayek cover, to a Giselle, to a Kim Kardashian, to Lakshmi by Prabhudo, which is priceless today.
Priceless.
It's
I mean, that's
priceless.
art.
That's
you
art.
would buy it and hang it as art.
My favorite cover was the one we did for Vogue Empower. When the whole Nirbhaya case happened, we wanted to react to it. And who said that fashion can't react? We're run by women, for women. And that's all we were talking about at lunchtime every day. How do we react to this? And then we got into this whole idea of grouping people together who would come and give us their celebrity, their money, their time. And we got this incredible group of people. It wasn't a fashion cover, if you ask me, but it was such a powerful cover.
It was a cover of
Who were the people on the...
We had everybody from Sudha Murthy to Amir, to Ranveer, to Alia, to the designers. I think we had them all.
So you got them all together for one
had them
kid.
all.
It was
together.
amazing.
Yeah, it was just
It was
about-
really amazing.
And it was to give you a small message that all starts with you. What can you do in your capacity? It went on to
That's
become
amazing.
much larger.
So it was much bigger than just the cover.
Oh
It
my
was so
God,
much
yes.
more. It was a
Oh
whole
my God,
movement,
yes,
basically.
Yes.
But magazines do that. You've been an integral part of the Elle Breast Cancer
missed that.
campaign,
Exactly.
right? Which for years
my
and
God.
years
How
and
iconic.
years, we raised money for Tata Memorial.
The both of you also started very successful, like a parallel business model of offline events that now all magazines and brands kind of try to follow, but you guys started that.
In my
you know?
case, not willingly or out of love.
Yeah, but still, I think the breast cancer awareness,
that was
the
iconic.
day you did the fair, everything, that was huge. And the Vogue Awards, Beauty Awards, and the Women,
The
of the
Women of the
Year.
Year.
Women of the
Huge,
Year.
huge.
I will point out,
These are
Elle
huge
started the Beauty Awards.
Yeah, you guys had Beauty
We
Awards.
started
You
it
guys
and
had
it
Women
went-
of the Year.
and it went
You guys had
global.
Women of the Year. That was huge. No, I'm just saying that, and these
They were
events,
properties. They became IPs.
they're properties because not only do they promote your business, your magazine, but they also bring in like advertiser money. They're great for marketing. They're
No,
just good for so
listen,
many
they
things.
build community. They allow us to talk to our reader. I think for Priya and me, the most important thing was we were able to reach out and talk to our reader
Consumer
and
interface.
totally sort of be like, hey, you're part of this, but tell us what you're thinking. Because what was market research? There was none.
Yeah.
When you went out and met people
Oh
and
my God.
attended events, that's when you found
That
out.
was the truest form of market research. How right is she? Because I remember when we were launching Vogue, we did a qualitative and a quantitative.
Those
And one of the
agencies
jobs I
only
had
need
to do was go to people's wardrobes across India, the target audience, so-called target, and open it and see what is your relationship with luxury. It was hysterical. That itself could have made a documentary.
Yeah.
I want to see this.
It's like anthropology. This is crazy. Okay.
It was incredible. So for a person who didn't love events, because that's just not my nature, I realized how powerful they are in building
Community.
equity for
And
your
equity.
brand.
I think you guys built the most powerful properties, if you ask me.
And the
Genuinely.
the Vogue wedding show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Priya, that was huge.
And we're doing another one now.
yeah, you guys are doing one with Reliance
Wedding
now,
Collective.
right?
The Wedding Collective.
Yeah, I mean you're the you know how to do it. You guys started it. You know that's amazing. Yeah,
It's
inshallah,
exciting.
it'll all
It's
go well.
exciting.
Rumor has it they have already exceeded their budgets.
Amazing.
Not budgets, but their
Their
targets. They
targets,
have
yeah.
exceeded
I'm
their
not
targets
surprised.
by several zeros that
Yeah.
I can't count, but I've done my market research before coming on to this.
I had a really, really awful experience with one of your contemporaries. I
Name
don't want to
them.
name because she's also a friend of yours. So, what do you think?
Oh.
What do you think
Plot
is
thickens.
the most?
Shh, 1 second.
No, wait.
I'll tell you off camera after.
Or, okay, yeah.
Huh.
I have another guess.
So,
Huh.
what do you think is really important, or the most important thing when it comes to journalism?
When you're a writer or when you're leading a team?
Writer.
The ability to not mind your own business. I think you need to be very curious. The lives of others have to matter more than yours. Sometimes the most inane conversations lead to the best stories. It's really not about going prepared. Like, we're having this amazing conversation and you're not prepared and you've just,
No.
it's on the fly and we're having such meaningful conversations.
Because
in
we
the same,
care, right? What we're talking
Also,
about.
there
all
is
of
a
us.
genuine
Yeah.
interest. So,
There's a curiosity.
There's a curiosity, the ability to be a great listener.
Yeah.
A lot of journalists walk into a story with knowing how they want it to
They
end.
already
Yeah.
have a opinion about it.
preconceived
There's a
notion.
bias.
Fairness is an important point you brought up because a lot of journalists now are also being paid to do paid articles, but they're not admitting it that it's paid, and it's very obviously
Yeah.
swayed. So
My-
that fairness
I have
never
a very
goes.
old-fashioned word to be a good journalist.
Yeah.
It's integrity.
Integrity.
Whether it's
Yeah.
fashion, whether it's
Yeah.
reportage, whether it's political economics, if you have integrity and curiosity, and it's a healthy curiosity. So I want to know about your life, but I actually don't want to know your personal details. What I have come to interview you for, I will extract every last measure. Your personal life, I'd want to know maybe your influences and what you read and, you know, where you traveled, maybe if it impacted you. The rest, I have no interest. And I think both Priya and I have this weird gap in our knowledge in fashion where we know very little about designers' personal lives or models' personal lives because our friends we know, but beyond that, we know nothing. Worst gossip, I know nothing. I really feel bad about that.
And I think when it comes to like paid journalism, now I think it's okay if you just admit it.
Just don't call it paid journalism. Say it's a commercial
collaboration.
feature.
A commercial
Right.
collaboration.
Like how you say it's like
But still
it's
do justice
sponsored
to
or whatever.
what you are putting out there.
Yeah.
If you are a beauty brand and I take your money, when I'm putting it out there, let me not say that your qualities are something that it's not.
Yeah.
Let me know what it is that you authentically stand for and bring the best of that.
Right,
to the
Don't lie
consumers.
just
Don't
because it's paid or
Because
whatever.
you
yeah.
are misleading people.
And not for SEO. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. SEO content
Something
just
you have
makes
to
me
really-
gag.
So where do you think is going? Like the Indian fashion journalism industry?
We're going to have many more foot soldiers. And I really admire influencers because we had limited access with our magazines. These people have gone out everywhere.
Yeah.
They're fashion influencers in small towns talking about fashion so much so that brands can reference the mob boss sort of style and everybody knows it, even though we've
Exactly.
never had the mafia in India. And I love it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there are going to be many more voices, a lot of amplification. The volume on fashion is going to be really turned up, which therefore means that people are going to come back to wanting authority. And we just did some research on what people want, and you'd be surprised. Brands like the Nod score very high because it comes from a team of experts.
Yeah.
People want print, and they want print because they trust it. They really believe in the written word. And I'm going to make myself really unpopular, but magazines have not stepped up. They've
Yeah.
stepped aside.
Yeah.
Digital does not always pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know, one ad, one great sort of IP on ground with print, with some digital amplification, that's the right way to do it. I'm sure there'll be a fourth and fifth dimension that we don't know about. All I can say is there's just going to be even more hard work ahead.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
The classic example is the OTT versus the TV shows, the GEC shows and the
Absolutely.
OTTs, right?
Yeah.
They were like, oh my God, people are only going to watch OTT and not going to watch GEC. Everybody's surviving.
There's a customer for everything, right?
There is,
Yeah.
everybody's surviving. The market is increasing. Consumption is increasing. Awareness is increasing. Individualization is increasing. And especially in countries like India, where the economy is so strong right now. The next 2-3 decades are all going to be about India. And we can see that. The pay scales have improved. So much has changed. There's a buoyancy in the country. What it's going to do is it's going to make people far more confident about how they're consuming content. So like Non said, a magazine will have to step up, but so will some of the influencers. I love how you evolved. You started off being an influencer. You went and had Pernias pop up. You're doing podcasts. It's a clear sign of evolution. how are the others evolving? If you think just putting an outfit of the day every day and assuming that that's going to work because somebody's paid you money to put that up isn't going to fly. We need to realize that we can't be everything to everyone.
And that's a sign of a very sophisticated economy when you start going into niche publications and specific interests.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your community is more engaged and actually your money is spent more effectively.
100%. If you're an advertiser, you would come to me because you know that for a certain demographic, I have them
You're
captive.
hitting each
Like
one of
they
them.
always say, like micro influencers who have the 10,000 followers,
Yeah.
20,000 have way more engagement and better results in terms of actually getting you sales or whatever you need.
Also, it's
Because
not, yeah,
that
you shouldn't want
community is so
sales, you
much
should want
tighter.
awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to have a
We've
relationship.
had this battle for so
Yeah,
long. We're like,
yeah.
do not put sales into this.
Yeah.
No.
We want a relationship, right?
Yeah.
What you want is
Long-term
a
relationship.
meaningful
Yep.
relationship. And honestly, if you observe the market, it has the most beautiful way of correcting itself. Every couple of years, you'll see a churn, you will see magazines going up, down, media is changing, news, but it all settles and each one finds their space.
Amazing. Gosh, this is like a masterclass.
That was
Thank you,
great.
guys.
Thank
yeah,
you.
honestly.
I've forgotten how much fun I have chatting with
I
you.
know.
This
Should
was
we go
so
on a
great.
flight and get lots of
two,
drinks?
I think so.
Let's
Let's
take
leave
a
now.
flight.
Yeah.
And be on it together for 9 hours.
Wait, let's just formally say bye and then we will
Okay.
informally chat. Yeah,
Okay.
thank
I
you,
feel like
guys.
I'm part of a shamanic healing.
Yeah.
Do that.
And now the best conversation happens once the camera is switched off.
Okay, so bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.